Okay, so let's start with Nate's topic here because Nate was in the news this past week. Or Nate the Hate, Nate Drake, got a lot of names.
I do.
You're in the news. Game Boy games. This was a whole podcast you and MVG had where you speculated about Game Boy games going to the Nintendo Switch Online, and then it seemed like all the other publications picked up on it and said that they all of a sudden had knowledge that Game Boy games are going to the Switch Online hours after, by the way, your podcast went live. They were very, very quick over there. Very quick.
They were. Took about 12 hours, I think, for Nintendo Life to corroborate it.
That's pretty quick. Yeah. So Game Boy. And you know what? This falls right in line with what I said, that we need the announcement with disappointment. No Game Boy Advance games, just Game Boy. That makes sense. Game Boy and Game Boy Color. I did say monochrome Game Boy. So like getting Game Boy Color for me is like a step up. So first off, what game do we want to see here? Because they're going to drop 10 games. I mean, it's going to be a collection of games for Game Boy. They're not going to be like, here's 2 Game Boy games, because even with the Super Nintendo, they dropped 20 games or something at first?
Yes.
10 games maybe for Game Boy?
I mean, I guess it depends on how they want to split it. I mean, you can do, let's say, 10 Game Boy Color games. And I mean, out of any list, the one game I want there day one is Donkey Kong 94.
Okay, so we're just going to cross that off the list. That's not coming. What else?
It'll be there. It'll be there.
No, I mean, it's too obvious. There's too much fun there. We're just getting Tetris, and they're gonna be like, "Can you believe it? Tetris is on the Switch."
I don't think the Tetris company is going to let Tetris get on that system.
There's a whole Tetris company now.
Oh yeah, there is. Yeah. Try make a Tetris video on YouTube and just watch what happens to it.
Really? Wait, what?
Oh yeah,
interesting.
Yeah. And to MVG's point, he's right. The Tetris company is notorious for only wanting 1, maybe 2 Tetris games on a platform at a given time, because they view it as kind of your privilege to have a Tetris game. And that's why it took so long for Tetris Effect to come to the Switch, because they viewed it as, well, you have Tetris 99. You don't need another Tetris. And they're very powerful, and they do not like to spread the license.
We'll just walk into like some big dark room. There's just 3 people behind a counter. Jesus.
Read up about, I think it's called Tetris Holdings. That's the company. Read up on them and the amount of power that they have.
Shadowy figures over here.
Just walking in and be like, you got a lot of bricks here. It'd be damn shame if we broke them to form a Tetris. How you feel about that?
Yeah, you don't mess with the Tetris company.
Okay.
That's crazy, man. I didn't know. So that's what happened to Wario's Woods. They threw him with a brick into the water. Is that what happened? They just said that's why Wario's Woods never came. Okay.
Yeah, I'm curious where they go with the idea. Like, all right, so Game Boy games, we'll say they're coming, right? We'll say it's a Direct's coming up or something, right? Some kind of Nintendo event, and they're going to announce Game Boy games going to Switch Online. I'm curious where they go exactly with the library to get the initial like games. What are the most important ones for them to be like, okay, here's 10 Game Boy games? Because with the Super Nintendo, they got some pretty good ones to start out with. It was only until after that we all started complaining about everything they were doing.
Mario Land, 6 gold coins, the Wario games.
DX though, DX version of Mario Bros from the Game Boy Color.
Sure,
cool.
DX,
which is fantastic.
Metroid 2 is obviously something that I think would be in there, given the amount of marketing Nintendo's doing for Metroid right now.
Kirby.
Kirby is another great one.
Yeah, I'd say Link's Awakening. Even though we do have the remake on the Switch, it's enough of a different game, and the sales for that game have slowed considerably. So bring the original Link's Awakening to the Switch via Nintendo Switch Online.
Yeah, sure.
Oh my god, hell yes.
Okay. No one said anything about Pokemon.
So I was going to say that.
Where's Pokemon?
I'm hoping that we get Pokemon Yellow and Pokemon Crystal. I feel like it'll be some sort of way of them, like, giving us the good versions of each of those generations.
So we need 2 of them, Max. Okay.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
We need Pokemon Pinball, and we need Pokemon Trading Card Game.
Yes.
All right. I'll compromise. If we get trading card game, I'm happy for sure.
Pokemon Trading Card. You know what's cool about Pinball? That was the game where you get a battery in the cartridge, so it did rumble. They could technically, if they wanted to just do a little extra, just incorporate it so it used the HD rumble with it. That would be cool.
That'd be cool.
Great.
That'd be a fun idea.
I don't think they'd put trading card game just because how much is changed from that game since, and I don't know if they want that out there to like. If you learn to play that way, that's completely different to how it's played today. So it'd be smarter for them to just release the online version that they have, the trading card game, on the Switch itself.
Yeah, I guess I just really like that Pokemon trade. And what's cool is technically they could grab the second one, localize it, and bring it over and drop it on the service.
The one I want, there's actually a lost Game Boy game, never came to America. I've played it. It's the only Grandia game that didn't come out in America, called Parallel Trippers, and it was on Game Boy. And it's really, really weird. But I've always wanted them to make an official English translation of it.
So if let's say they bring Pokemon to this service, like they leverage their, obviously the Pokemon company, and we'll just say Yellow. I was like, we'll start with Yellow, right? Classic game, drop it on there. Do they have online play with it to where you can battle and trade?
I would think so.
I think so. I mean, I think they would take whatever they have currently with the existing stuff.
Wouldn't that introduce a new problem? The Pokemon games can technically be rated 18 plus in Europe now due to gambling.
Well, I thought they fixed that in the release on the 3DS. I thought they made it so that you couldn't gamble in that area. Someone can correct me in the chat. I thought they actually fixed that.
If they fix that, then I could see them potentially consider bringing that ROM over for Nintendo Switch Online. But I mean, like the Pokemon games is just going to come down to the Pokemon company and whether or not they want to bring those games to Nintendo Switch Online. You'd think it'd be the obvious yes, because that would be a really hype thing.
That'd be massive,
nostalgia for Yellow is so high, and this is Pokemon's anniversary. That's going to be the game where people are like, I will gladly renew my subscription to play Pokemon Yellow on my Switch.
That'd be big. People would probably buy in. I mean, Yellow might be worth it for a lot of old people. You know,
old people. Oh God,
that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna be like, oh wow, I remember that game 20-something years ago.
I'm a huge Game Boy collector. I literally have like 200 Game Boy games. I seriously love Game Boy and Game Boy Color. I'm hoping we get some weird stuff in there. Like, has anybody ever played the Metal Gear Solid they made for Game Boy?
That is isn't that a rare game? Like, it's kind of fine now, isn't it?
Yes, and it's excellent.
It's excellent. It has it actually, my favorite thing about it is when you beat it, it introduces this new like remixed version of the whole campaign where you do these little bite-sized missions. It even like has you fight bosses in remixed ways. It's one of those things where I wish it's like VR missions on crack. It's so good. And it's totally lost to obscurity now.
Yeah, Ghost of Babel was fantastic. And even Resident Evil Gaiden.
Yeah.
It's not a bad game.
Oh, you think they go to Konami and Capcom and get that kind of stuff done?
I hope so.
What about awesome. Perfect Dark?
That's rare, so that introduces a wrinkle.
But like they could put that out there and be like, "Here's Perfect Dark."
If Microsoft agrees.
Oh,
Perfect Dark also had a problem. Perfect Dark and Game Boy Color had a thing where the Game Boy cartridge itself talks. It has a speaker on it, so they'd have to actually reprogram it so it comes up with speaker.
Here's the cool thing: the HD, like the rumble motors in the Joy-Cons, can recreate sound.
Oh yeah.
So what if they designed that so that it actually said stuff through that would be cool.
It'd be pretty legit. You know, when we get Game Boy Advance, I just want to get Boktai, then I can die happy.
What were we saying, Click?
No, I was gonna say, what about Dr. Mario? I know they're ending the app on the phone.
That's another one. Yep.
That could fit well.
Yeah, it's a classic. I'd like to see him even get a Mega Man game and just throw it on there, but and that sounds like too much fun, so they can't do that.
I think Game Boy / Game Boy Color has more longevity than the Super NES stuff, as far as eventually, you know, when they add games and they start running out of the big games, there's a vast collection of really good games on Game Boy. We kind of seem to forget a lot of them, and some of us haven't even heard of them before.
Yeah,
it's just a massive library of really good games that they could bring to the system, and I think it's a good move.
This Perfect Dark game on Game Boy looks trash. I'm sorry.
It's pretty weird.
Do you play this?
Yeah, I beat it. I don't know why I've beaten hundreds of Game Boy games. For a long time, I wasn't played it, but consoles. So.
I think I rented it back in the day, and I was like, "Yo, this is dookie." So I like played something else, man. But yeah, if they bring it over, cool.
I had this thing where my friends would have a Nintendo 64 and I'd go to their house and I'd play the real version of games. And then when I go home, I didn't have a console. So my parents, if I worked, my dad had a company and I'd work for that and he'd buy me the Game Boy version of it. So I even have the Game Boy version of Turok, which is a side-scrolling adventure game. Yeah. Absolute garbage. I played every Turok game.
You know what? That would actually be interesting because there's so many, like you said, MG, so many Game Boy games that people don't even remember or know about. They might just drop drop it on there and you'd be like, oh, there was a Turok Game Boy game, and just like, let me check this thing out. All right, it's terrible, but that was interesting, something like that. So,
dude, there's Killer Instinct for it. There's
I played that. Yeah. I hated it.
Yes, Killer Instinct's not bad. The one that sucks is Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat. Oh, that's right.
I don't know, because I think a lot of these games were coming out like we had Super Nintendo, we already had Super Nintendo, we had PlayStation, we had Tekken, we had all these games that were moving, looking good, and then you're playing like this, and it's just like, it's just not looking or running good or whatever, like, and then if you like GBA to me was like so much better. Yeah. Like I just felt like GBA games just really took it to the next level, when it comes to it.
Well, we just started getting like Super Nintendo ports to a handheld. It was really cool to see that at the time. But Nate, something else came up here. I noticed this. This was Eurogamer. They go on to mention that other systems are also on the cards.
Well, we also kind of touched on that a little bit in the episode as well, but that's a topic MVG and I will address early next week in a brand new episode. I will share new information regarding Nintendo Switch Online then.
Oh.
New information.
Oh.
Yes, new information that has not been reported anywhere else.
Interesting.
He doesn't want anybody to steal the information. That's exactly what they're gonna do. They're gonna jack the information.
I will say Nate hasn't said anything about this, so I'm curious about what he has to say here with this one on his podcast next week.
Yes.
Interesting.
Early next week.
So other consoles here. All right. The obvious thing is to then think of N64 or Virtual Boy, obviously. Game Boy Advance. Hey, the Labo VR exists. All right.
Yeah, but that doesn't work with OLED
yet. Oh wait. Oh right. OLED. Yeah. I mean, they could shrink the screen. The screen can like have black bars around the outside and all that, right? They could make it so it kind of fits, I think. Anyway, other systems. I mean, what else is there? There's the
GameCube, baby.
N64. See, GameCube, we're getting to the territory of Nintendo being like, we'll hold those back and remake them.
Well, you also have to look. At Eurogamer's wording.
Why? What's their wording? What's the wording?
Specify it has to be a Nintendo platform. They were just saying retro systems. So that technically would open it up to the door, as MVG speculated on our episode of Nate the Hate. Maybe TurboGrafx comes back. Now, this is a system. TurboGrafx was on the Wii. It was also on the Wii U. So why not go for the hat trick and resurrect yourself on
I wasn't going to go that far with it, Nate, because you got your podcast coming up next week. But all right, sure. So it looks like the wording does mention just game consoles and not necessarily Nintendo consoles, Nintendo systems. So it does make you wonder what deals Nintendo could be trying to strike in the background there, because they are building up a user base now at $20 per year. I think their last number they reported was over 10 million. What was it? 12 million?
I don't recall. I'd have to check.
It's to the point where they're getting hundreds of millions of dollars basically through their online. Yeah, you can check real quick. It's point now where they're getting hundreds of millions of dollars per year for an online service that is worse than the Wii U, I guess now. About. I mean, it's basically comparable. Like, it's to the point now where it's like, okay, we're seeing these offers of like game trials, and we're seeing this library of games. But there's not like voice chat. You can't message your friends. There's no like Miiverse kind of thing. Nothing like that.
No Miiverse.
So yeah, like those kind of things. Number I can find is from September of 2020, and Nintendo said they had 26 million paid subscribers.
Oh wow, I was way off then. Geez, so they're making by now it's more than that, obviously. So you drop something like Game Boy with Pokemon Yellow on there, or just a Pokemon game in general with that branding, it'll probably spike again. They could be getting to the point where they're upwards of 35 million paid subscribers by the end of this year, just through their online service. That's a pretty substantial amount of money per year.
A lot. Yeah.
If they put Genesis or Master System or something on there, man, I will lose my mind.
What else? You said TurboGrafx, Neo Geo?
Maybe.
I mean, it could be any retro system, in truth.
They could do that.
Could be the Game and Watch.
Hype killed.
Play ball. What if it's a Tiger Electronic?
Yep, that sounds like something Nintendo would do. But here's my issue though. That starts opening this up to, I mean, how many systems and games are we going to get on this service for $20 a year? Is that something Nintendo's are we gonna have hundreds and then like 10 systems or something crazy 5 years from now?
I mean, I think Game Boy and Game Boy Color would stay where it is right now. But I mean, if we start talking about N64 or maybe the next tier of games, right? I could see them considering a higher tier for, the ability to play those, because I think eventually if you start adding all these systems to the Switch Online service, I think they're going to want to look at, well, we need to make some more money out of this because we're offering so much more than we did, a year ago. So I could see that happening.
Yeah, like that's really how it should have been. This should have been like and it could eventually spin off into this, but their Netflix of games or whatever, like their retro, style app where it just has hundreds of games. And yeah, they could probably put N64 in there, like you said, MG, and GBA, and start exploring those if they have like a $10 a month subscription. It's broken off from the Switch Online. So it's kind of where I think they might end up with this, like maybe even next gen, but I guess we'll see there. So Nate, you said a podcast coming up this week.
Yes, early this coming week. New information about Nintendo Switch Online's future plans.
There you go.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned. Oh, and there's supposed to be a Direct coming up, or a Nintendo event. I don't think it's this week. I think it's the following week. Is that
right, Nate?
Any thoughts on this?
It's very soon.
Are they really going to have it this week alongside of the Sony? That's a lot of stuff going on.
I mean, why not?
It's a busy week.
It's going to be annoying. There's a lot of stuff happening.
They didn't plan it when Sony planned it. I mean, they're both planning their own thing. So, I mean, it could, right? But I mean, who knows?
It's just like all this stuff happening. It's like, there's a lot hitting all at once. That's going to be, somebody going to stream the Sony event and they're going to be like, Nintendo Direct. Well, they're not going to announce it on Monday because Monday's
holiday.
So they have to announce it on Tuesday for Wednesday.
I mean, the only reason I think that kind of makes sense is I know a lot of people like to try and announce stuff before Tokyo Game Show, which is the very, very beginning of October. So if they do something, they'd have to do it soon.
Yeah, I mean, it'll be definitely within the next 2 weeks. It's just a matter of, is it the coming week or is it the week following? And
I feel like it's the week following. I think I might be off, but this week, maybe I'm trying to will it into the following week.
Coming. That's Sony, all that matters, right?
I think like the thing with this week that may cause people some hesitation is that you do have WarioWare coming out.
Yeah, so
it's like you could wait the week after WarioWare, but you could also do it the week of WarioWare. And Nintendo, they don't give a damn. They just drop directs whenever they want. It doesn't care. They don't care if a game releases the same day as the direct.
Sure.
So it'd be within the next 2 weeks.